thanks to Keeper for sponsoring this video. We've got some bad news on the iPhone 15 that you need to know. Apple is said to be removing features, raising prices, and restricting some capabilities to only work with the expensive certified Apple cables. As you'd expect, Apple fans are furious. The iPhone 15 line is set to get some really big changes, but some of these are going to be extremely controversial, and some might see them as sort of a downgrade. So let's break down the top 5 most controversial changes coming to the iPhone 15 line, and let me tell you, some of you might hate these changes so much, you might just want to, dare I say, actually switch to Android. Believe it or not, we're now about 6-ish months away from the official unveil and release of the all-new iPhone 15 and 15 Pro phones, and it seems like, according to rumors, Apple has a lot of big changes in store for us this year. We're gonna see a new port, a new design, some big camera upgrades, new colors. Seems like a lot of good things are coming to the iPhone 15 this year. But as we get closer and closer to the official unveil and more rumors come out, it seems like, according to leaks, that Apple is making some changes that, like I mentioned, a lot of you aren't going to be happy about. So let me give you a warning now about some changes coming to the iPhone 15 that might not be what you're hoping for. For number 1, let's cover the controversial change of the port, because there are a couple of different pieces to this story. Now, I think most of us can agree that we are excited for Apple to finally ditch the sort of old, antiquated Lightning port for the sort of gold standard these days, which is USB-C. And good news here is that Apple isn't restricting USB-C to just like the 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max, but it's gonna come to every single iPhone 15 model. But all of those ports won't be functioning equally. We're learning right now from a couple different sources that the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, the non-Pro phones, are going to have a more standard USB-C port that just pushes USB 2.0 type speeds or Lightning type speeds. So if you're okay with the data transfer speeds you get on your iPhone now, probably not going to be a huge deal. But if you do take a lot of photos and videos on your phone and you're constantly sort of shuffling files back and forth, that is going to be a little bit of an annoying thing, limited to those non-Pro phones. The 15 Pro series, however, will be capable of those faster sort of Thunderbolt-esque speeds you'd get on sort of higher end USB-C ports. We see this on the iPad Pro, we've got it on Macs, and now it is gonna be here on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. So this is good news that if you're looking to sort of push a lot of files back and forth and you don't wanna deal with AirDrop or iCloud syncing and stuff like that, you now have faster data transfer speeds from your higher end iPhone. But that's not the whole story. That in and of itself is annoying, but not super controversial because that's just Apple being Apple. But this next piece of the rumor isn't so good, and it's not a good look for Apple, and that is that according to 2 different leakers, Apple is set to actually limit the USB-C port functionality, both data transfer speeds and charging speeds, by the type of cable and brick you're using. That is to say that if you want the fastest data transfer speeds possible, you're gonna have to use an official Apple made for iPhone certified cable, and if you want the fastest charging speeds, you're gonna also have to use one of those official made for iPhone Apple certified chargers too. And on the surface, this seems like almost an extremely sleazy move by Apple. I'm not sure if this is a hardware limitation or it's a software limitation, but whatever the case may be, limiting the full power of that port to using the special sort of Apple certified stuff isn't a good look for Apple. To be clear, this isn't saying that you can only get those full speeds and stuff with Apple stuff. That's not what I'm saying, but it's those vendors that use Apple sort of certification, their made for iPhone program that does cost money. That is what you have to sort of use and sort of have labeled for on your products to get, quote unquote, those full capabilities and full speeds. In fact, let me actually do you a solid, and I'm gonna leave a link down below my favorite made for iPhone certified chargers, the charging bricks, fast chargers, as well as cables, both USB-C and Lightning. I'm gonna find the best deals that I can find, and I'll leave them linked down below. That way you can sort of get the good cables and get the stuff that's, allegedly going to work, and even enjoy it now on your 14 or 13 or whatever phone you've got right now, but also save yourself some money, because again, going through and getting the official Apple stuff isn't at all, actually necessary. And before we get to more of what the iPhone 15 will and won't have and all the controversial changes, let me tell you something that is not controversial, and that is that you, yes you, need to be using a password manager. And if you haven't got one, you gotta get one right now. And if you're using a service like LastPass, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is time for your passwords to find a safer and more secure home. And if you're looking to get a password manager for the very first time or switch away from another service to a more secure home for your passwords, I've got the perfect solution for you. Look no further than this video's sponsor, and that is Keeper Security and their amazingly feature-packed password manager. For me, there are a couple of things I look for in a good password manager. I want a great, simple, clean UI for the app. I want apps on all my devices, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS. I want it on everything I own, and also just a really simple way to create super strong passwords. And I'm happy to say that Keeper's Password Manager, it checks all of these boxes. It is incredibly feature-packed, plus it's got so much more that I didn't even think I needed. And personally, one of the things that I love most about Keeper's Password Manager is that it is just so simple to use. It is really easy to sort of set up new accounts, create strong passwords, syncs across all my devices, and in addition to being incredibly feature-packed, Keeper takes your data and your security extremely seriously. Unlike services like LastPass, Keeper encrypts all Vault data, including URLs and metadata, locally on your device. Keeper's cloud does not receive, store, or process any plain text Vault information. So now is the time to get your passwords safe, secure, locked down, and accessible on all your different devices with an amazingly feature-packed password manager, and Keepers is simply put the perfect way to go, again, for individuals and families as well. So if you want to learn more, check it out for yourself today and get your passwords safe and secure right now. Hit the link down below and check out, again, Keeper's amazingly feature-packed, really awesome password manager for yourself today. The second big change that Apple is expected to make to the iPhone 15 series is going to be with the price, and it is going to hurt your wallet. Now, one of the big rumors right now is that the 14 and 14 Plus just aren't selling very well, and one of the ways that Apple could make those phones more competitive in sort of the mid-range, higher-end space is to simply drop the price and allow people to save some money and get a really good phone. Instead, though, Apple's not going to do that, but they're actually going to raise the price on the Pro series, rumored to be by about $100, to sort of widen the gap between the 15, 15 Plus, and 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. Change number 3 is a big one. It is very controversial. It is taking the internet by storm, and that is that Apple is set to remove physical buttons on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. So for years and years and years, we've had a physical volume up, volume down, and then sort of mute vibration toggle. All three are going away and are going to be replaced by less physical, more sort of touch-sensitive buttons, similar to sort of what happened a couple of years ago with the home button on the iPhone 7. What Apple has against physical buttons, I really don't know. I don't understand this move, but the volume buttons, in a sense, sort of do make sense to sort of go physical. One of the rumors right now is that Apple is going to combine this into what sort of looks like a gesture area. So maybe instead of sort of tapping up and down, you could do that, but maybe you could swipe up and down and sort of raise the volume up and down. That would be sort of kind of cool. And then maybe Apple could even take this a step further and sort of make this a actual gesture area. Maybe you could do other things on here, like do gestures to go home or switch between apps. That's sort of wishful thinking. Not sure what they're going to do, but that is a possibility. And then the other big change is that they're going to remove that physical sort of mute toggle and replace that with a Taptic sort of software button as well. For number 4, let's talk good news and bad news about the iPhone 15, the non-Pro phones. If you're hoping for an iPhone 15 mini, I'm sorry to say that the mini line doesn't look to be making its return basically ever, at least not in the foreseeable future. There's gonna be 2 non-Pro phones, a 15 and 15 Plus. And while we're not gonna get any high refresh rate, which is sort of a bummer, we're not gonna get an always-on display or anything like that, or a third camera lens, there are gonna be some notable upgrades here that will make these non-Pro phones a little bit more worth the money. Specifically, the Dynamic Island is coming to all iPhones this year, so it will be on the 15 and 15 Plus. That's going to be awesome. Also, the 48 megapixel main camera from the 14 Pro series will be coming to the 15 and 15 Plus. Also, the A16 processor, and maybe some new colors coming to the phones as well. Last but not least, for number 5, another controversial change coming to the 15 is that Apple is expected to give us an exclusive all-new telephoto lens, maybe up to 10x optical zoom for your iPhone, But Apple's sort of going back to how they used to do things, and they might be reserving it for just the highest end, most expensive phone. So if you do want the absolute most versatile camera system, you want the most telephoto zoom you can get, you might have to pony up the money and go with a 15 Pro Max, because as of right now, looks like the smaller 15 Pro will not be getting this upgraded telephoto periscope zoom lens system. All right guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the iPhone 15 series as it stands right now? The good stuff, the bad stuff, the controversy. Do you think Apple is making good changes? Do you think they're making bad changes? Do you think that they're moving in the right direction? As always, I appreciate your support. Thank you guys as always. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.